Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to This Is Your Spotlight with who? Me, Eurydice Raman. And I am here back with a favorite friend of the show. And he brought his friend to the show too. I
Yeah,
am here with Robert Mercado and Robert Mansonet.
I
Like I
got.
said,
I happy to be on
yes.
the show. Thank you for having us.
Yes, no, thank you for saying yes and thank you for letting me know.
Yes, I was like, the project was ready. I was like, I need to hit up Yuri. We had so much fun on our last interview. So I was like, I gotta let her know we got a new project to talk about.
It's true, it's true. So, this is kind of a love letter to break it down for everybody. It's called Latin Lives Forever.
Yes, it's a documentary called Latin Lives Forever, and
Okay.
it is sort of an anniversary special for the project that I was in called Latin Lives that Robbie created, and I was an actor in it,
Mhm.
web series as well as the play. And Robbie's a good friend of mine, and the 30th anniversary came up, and I'm
Sure.
like, we got to do something. We got to celebrate this. And I'm a filmmaker, and the way I give gifts is with like my time and putting into things like that are special that people will have forever, like a film. And
Mhm.
I had to celebrate Latin Lives. It was a very special time in my life, and
Mhm.
Robbie's a very special person in my life. So we had to celebrate, uh, and I love seeing all the project come together because I got to see all these beautiful faces of people I worked with, and
Mhm.
hold so dear to my heart. And so
Which
it's
is
a
great. No, it's great.
yeah, I would say it's a love letter to the experience and to the friendship that we built. And just a thank you to Robbie to say, hey, you are representing us Latinos and you've been doing it, and I see you. You are amazing, and we got to keep it going.
Oh, you got poor Robert. You got poor Robert blushing. Pobrecito.
Uh,
Yeah,
You okay? You okay? We need to get you a water.
it's been I wasn't expecting it. I didn't know he was working on this like that. About 2 years ago, I asked him to try to do a little promo for me. That I was like, I'll pay you, just do a little promo to like a little like a 2 minute thing or something. And I thought he forgot about it, and I didn't bring it up because I was like, all right, I guess he's not doing it. I gave him all that material, and I'm not hearing anything. And then recently he reached out and confessed what he's really been working on. And then when he finally sat down to show it to me, um it was very overwhelming. Um,
Oh.
it's doing this show. It's There's been ups, a lot of ups and a lot of downs. I'm not gonna lie. There have been some hard times doing it, but most of the
Mhm.
time it's been great. And like I told him the other day, even knowing about the hard times, I would still do this. I wouldn't change anything about the experience. It has been a pleasure to put this show up when we can afford to, and
Mhm.
creating the web series that takes up, that takes place right after the play ends, and continuing the story. We did 2 seasons, 20 episodes with no money. All the
Dang.
actors, and the people behind the scenes dedicated their time and their talent because they believed in this project. Uh,
Mhm.
so for Robert to recognize that and make this incredible documentary about the show, um, it just yeah, it's been overwhelming to see it, to experience it.
Mhm.
Since I think he loves it more than I do, which is saying a lot because I created it. But there's it. Yeah, it's just been an overwhelming experience. I'm very touched, very grateful. Thank you for
Mhm.
believing in me, believing in Latin lives, for loving Latin lives as much as you do, and thank you for this beautiful documentary because yeah.
So 30 years ago, when you were creating this show,
Yeah.
what was like that moment of aha, or like, you know what, something needs to be out there to represent?
Well, it was I when I started acting, I was doing theater, and even
Okay.
though I feel like I look Latino and I know I'm Latino, I'm very proud to be Latin. At that time, there were few Latin
Pale
roles.
Latinos United.
Right, like, there were very few Latin roles, and my agents and stuff were sending me out, and I was playing like Italian and Greek and light skinned black and everything but Latino. And the very first film I got was the lead role, and I was playing a Latino. It was an all Latin cast, a very militant Latin writer and director. I love him to Resto. And it was a real great opportunity for me. And it was the first time that I was playing a Latino and working with other Latin. And
Mhm.
I was listening to their struggles and their stories about how hard it's been for them. Because again, some of them had accents, some of them were darker than me, so it wasn't as easy for them to assimilate and play like a white character. And I realized I wanted to try to do something to really work with other Latin actors, and that's how everything just snowballed from there, and it became something more. It became an opportunity for Latin actors to work together in a project telling our own stories.
Mhm.
I never claimed to be a writer. I'm an actor who wrote a play and 2 seasons of a web series that for some reason a lot of people, it resonated with them, and I'm
You wrote them
blessed for
well.
that. Thank you. And that's where it all came together. And whenever we can afford to put it up, I put it up. And
Mhm.
yeah,
I'm going to have to ask you to move your car. Why? Because you're leaving. What? Hold on. The only thing that makes me more mad than meeting up with a racist is you holier than thou, hypocritical Latinos going around preaching unity. But all you're really concerned with is bullying people into following your path because you think you're better than them. I am better. I'm not like those. Oh, Martin, get serious. Now I am going to say this loud and clear so that you will know and your children will someday know. When it comes right down to it, a true racist doesn't care if you're Puerto Rican, Dominican, Ecuadorian, or Cuban. To them, we are all spicks. And until Latinos like you realize that, we will never be able to unite. If we want white people to respect us, we have to start by respecting each other. What are you saying? What I'm saying is get out. Get out of my house, or as God as my witness, I will kick your ass out myself.
I'll never forget looking out into the audience and seeing maybe
So,
maybe 50%.
my big question is, do you plan to continue it? Is there more, is there more that you want to add to it? Maybe you want to modernize it, or do you
but
think it's
every time the play itself goes up again, I tweak the script.
okay? Okay.
The script continues to evolve, just because we have to reflect what's going on. For instance, we do have a gay couple in the show, and
Mhm.
during the course of doing the play, we had to change things. At the very beginning, their
Mhm.
storyline was that they wanted to be together, like in a marriage. So they wanted to have a commitment ceremony.
Oh.
Um, Back in the days when there was none. Now that gay marriage is legal, we were able to incorporate that into the script.
Mm.
I was thinking about the moment I realized that you were the one.
Um, I know that this is gonna sound corny, but it's like you're born with this little piece of you missing, and you go your whole life feeling lonely and incomplete, like something is lost. And then one day you meet somebody, and for the first time in your entire life, you feel whole and complete, and the loneliness is gone. You will never know how much I love you.
You guys want to ride? Wilfredo's going away.
We'll be there in a minute, Lou.
Will you marry me?
Is this even possible?
I don't know. I don't care. As long as in the eyes of the people we love, we commit ourselves to each other and declare our love. See, you made me realize that we could have everything. The house and the dog and
I
the
hate animals.
kids.
Kids. I love kids.
Are you guys coming?
Go on without us!
Yes.
What?
You heard me, Antonio Lorenzo Soto. You're crazy enough to ask me to marry you, that I'm crazy enough to say yes, yes, I'll marry
Yes,
you.
you said yes! Are you sure?
Of course I'm sure. I wouldn't have said yes if I wasn't sure.
You made me so happy. Together we can overcome anything. I don't care what people think or who knows. I'm proud of us. Proud of you.
Big deal. When we first introduced this character, these storylines, we didn't have them kissing on stage because I didn't know how the audience was going to react back then. In 2003, we finally were like, you know what? Let's do it. Let's have them kiss. And the audience was so accepting, so
Oh,
that
that's important. Yeah.
they keeps changing with the times and what's going on.
Mhm.
Do sometimes I wonder, is the show even needed? And then I'm reminded that it is, because there's a lot of Latinos who don't go to the theater for this very reason, because they don't see anything that they think appeals to them, or they don't see themselves up there.
Exactly.
Now we have a lot of Latin plays and Latin people, but still people are not seeing it. They're not. I just saw a great Latin play that I was so like, it inspired me so much, but we're still not where we should be as Latinos in this industry, in this country. So in some ways, yeah, I think Latin Lives is still needed, and I never say never. Every time I do it, I say I'm never going to do it again, and then so somehow I do.
It's like buyer's remorse.
Yeah, and I really did want to put it up for the anniversary, but with COVID and everything, but like I said, never say never. I'm hoping to get it up there either this
This
year.
is true.
We'll see what happens.
So wait a minute. You consider yourself more of an actor than like a actor, writer, or director?
I'm an actor. I direct some theater, and I'm an actor first and foremost. And yeah, the writing, I don't know. They say that God could put, that's what happened with Latin Lies. Somehow God went through me, and I wrote it out, and I banged it out, and
Mhm.
I wouldn't call myself a writer, but
Mhm.
like I said, the play resonates with people. Um,
Now, okay, for theater, okay, being that this is more, it was a theater play first before it took on web series and it just, kept on going and its different iterations. Um, you, as you may know, it's the audition process is brutal. So,
uh-huh.
how picky were you for your audition process?
Well, I mean, that's the director in me. I'm always going to try to look for the
Mhm,
best people possible, but I also
mhm,
I like working with raw talent. Some of
sure.
the actors who've worked on Latin Lives, for some of them, I saw something in them,
Mhm.
a raw talent that I believed in. Um,
Like the person next to you, like that guy.
no, he's talented. He knows it. He came in.
Mm,
But it's been great to work with actors. For some of these actors, this was their first time playing a
mm,
lead role, being in
mm,
an ensemble piece that's going to challenge them and make them stretch. Because again, so many Latin actors are used to playing like the drug dealer, or the
right.
hooker, or the addict, and they have like maybe two or three lines. And here they were playing the father, the mother, the doctor, the police officer,
Yes.
and they were given a chance to really play the whole spectrum, not just a caricature. Uh,
Yeah.
so it's been a blessing in that sense. And
Mhm.
I'll never forget, one of the actresses, her mom came to see the show, and after the show, she came up to me, she gave me this big kiss, and she said, "Thank you for believing in my daughter and seeing in my daughter what I see in her."
Mhm.
And this actress was somebody who, the minute I saw her, I knew I wanted her. She was so talented, but this was a big challenge for her. And she
Oh.
don't get me wrong, but it was a challenge directing her, because she didn't believe in herself enough.
Oh.
By the time the show, we got to opening night, and she was kicking ass. Can I say kicking ass? Is that okay? She was kicking ass, let me tell you. I mean, and
Mhm.
that's for me the biggest joy. working with young Latin actors,
Mhm,
seeing them grow, seeing them
mhm,
just believing in themselves.
And
mhm.
I'll just butt in and say, Robbie talked about going to shows and supporting Latinos, and that's been a major influence um, that he's had on me and impacted me. And which was another reason why I created the project was because
Mm,
he's always there to come out. Once he knows you and he believes in you, he will be at every play that you have. He will
true.
be sick, his knee will be falling apart, whatever, and he's gonna show up in the rain at your thing uh, early to make sure that he claps for you and gives you some very kind words at the
Yes,
end.
and make sure he has a triple espresso to make sure he doesn't fall asleep.
Okay? But he will be.
Ánimo, ánimo.
You know, that was another reason why I had to do it because he shows up, and
Mhm,
so it was like I needed to say, "Hey, I want to show up for you. This project meant a lot to me, and I know it's made an impact on so many people. And
mhm.
I think that's the biggest message I've got from Robbie. Like,
Oh, that's
you
good though.
people, show up for people, show up for your people. It's
I,
important.
Right.
I think that's the important thing. It's like people don't realize it's we the only color Hollywood cares about is green. And if something's gonna make them money, they don't care what it's about. But we need to show up. We need to watch TV shows that are telling our stories. Watch these movies. I'm not saying that you gotta support something even if it's bad, but at least check it out and see. There's been so
Mhm.
many Latin series that have been just canceled after one
Yes.
recent
Oh my God, that infuriates me.
cancer. Rosalind Sanchez filmed in Puerto Rico, starring Rosalind Sanchez, a woman-centric show. I was so devastated to find out that Fox decided to cancel it. But
Yes, and like Gordita Chronicles on HBO Max.
the Chronicles, another one, just in and out. Party in Five reboot, One Day
Yep.
at a Time reboot.
And which one was it? One Day at a Time with Rita Moreno.
The
I
list
was
goes
like,
on, and if we're not supporting our people, how do we expect anybody else to support? Because I think
exactly.
effort to really go out there and find theater that is telling us stories, see TV
Mhm.
series, see films. It's so important. So important.
Oh my God, are they gonna get it? And when the second line came out and the audience just started laughing uncontrollably, I knew that we had something. And I think for me, the message is while, yes, we're showing them our story and who we are, we're also showing not only how different we are, but how much we have in common. Because at the end of the day, people, there's only one race, the human race, and we're all part of it. And if we could just unite, I mean, and I think that's the message to play. It's about love, it's about family, it's about friendship, it's about overcoming things together. And you know, we're here. Latinos are here. We're part of this country, and I'm very proud of all the actors and actresses and people who've worked behind the scenes all these years on Latin Lives. So that's our message. We're proud to be Latin.
And what I've noticed, from observational as a consumer of, film, television, and media, I noticed for some reason, if the story doesn't say the person's outright Latino, they have a better success rate of longevity for some reason. Example, Wednesday. It doesn't say she's outright Latina, but I'm like, Jen Ortega is half Puerto Rican, half Colombian. And Luis Guzman is Puerto Rican. Like,
Yeah,
but they're not saying they're outright Latino.
I think they try
But
to
yes,
for all the markets, and they're just like,
Played Josefina in the web series and the play version.
You need to get some sleep.
What I need is to go back to the hospital and to our son.
Josefa, remember what the doctor told us. He made it through the night. The worst is over. Now all we have to do is wait for him to wake up.
What if he wakes up and no one's there? It's not right for a child to go before their parent. I'm ready to go. I'm not ready to bury one of my children. My youngest. My baby. I've made so many mistakes with all you kids. I don't deny that. But I did the best I could with what little I had. I had no right having children at such a young age. Mia, forgive me if I ever made you feel like you couldn't come to me.
I'm just so very grateful to have had this opportunity. So thank you, Robbie. Thank you for seeing something special in me. Thank you for casting me. Thank you for the opportunity to be around other Latinos and to be able to portray stories that we can laugh about, that we can relate to, that we can cry about together as a community, as a very powerful community. Muchas gracias.
Hard coming up with material and really trying to corral the troops to come support.
Yeah.
It's
I
like,
Yeah,
I
it's true. Oh my gosh, because it's just like, okay, I made this with us in mind. Like, come on, like, ayúdame. Yo te
wait,
ayudo, tú me ayudas, vamos.
it's funny because when I first did Latin Lives, I actually just assumed who's gonna come see a play called Latin Lives but Latinos, and our very first production, the very first performance, half the audience was Latin and the other half was like everything but Latin. And I got really like, oh my God, are they even
That
gonna
sounds like a good book title. Everything but Latin.
and the second line came out and the audience started laughing and I was just like, phew, they got it. And what I discovered is that we've always had a fan base of people that are not Latinos who love this show because they see how much we have in common, not just how
Hmm.
different we are, but how much we have in common. And
Right.
I've talked to people after the show who are African American, and they're like, oh, we have the same issues with colorism and this and that, and you know.
Hmm.
And then speaking to just anybody, like, oh, I have an aunt, a cousin that's just like that character, or an aunt that's just like that character, and you realize that we do have more in common than we do that separates us.
Yeah,
And
so there's a lot of universal themes of
exactly,
acceptance, of, dealing with racial issues and, having to deal with even socioeconomics
yeah,
come into play a lot.
yeah, and that's one of the subjects that we deal with in the show. The play tackles a lot of different things: cultural segmentation, colorism, classism,
Yeah.
and also, again, just being a Latino living here in New York, and the things that we have to endure. Uh,
Hmm.
so the web series picks up from where the play leaves off, following the main and
Okay.
and that people, if you're there and you're curious, the entire web series is on YouTube. You can subscribe for free to our YouTube channel and enjoy and watch these 20 episodes. Will there be more? I don't know. He keeps telling me to do it. I might do it. I have more ideas and stuff, but
Hmm.
it's a lot. It's a lot. And these first two seasons, like I said, we did it with no money, no budget.
Hmm.
Everybody do it, and I couldn't keep asking people to do it. I couldn't keep doing it like that.
No,
Uh,
claro.
but I am proud of the response that we got
Right.
from the two seasons. I mean, it's not perfect. It's not, there are some rough moments with the technology, but the heart of the web series is there, and
Hmm.
which is I'm very very grateful and overwhelmed by the response. Some of the comments,
And that's always a good thing.
yeah.
Sometimes, we create things and we do things, and if we don't have at least some kind of reassurance that we should keep going, we kind of get in our own headspace and then we kind of like doubt ourselves, which we shouldn't.
Well, we
But
shouldn't.
it's human nature. It's human nature. We always doubt ourselves. Like, nah, did I really do that? Did I go forward with that? Should I have done it? Should I change this about it? And you're like, mira, you did fine. Con lo suave. Keep going. Well,
I
but
think
without the slapping, it just starts to get weird after a while.
I think you know, just going back to one of the topics I guess we kind of touched on a little bit about like representation and letting it be known that it's
Yes.
people that you're watching are Latino. I think that was one of my favorite things about the
Mhm.
project. Just hearing the title Latin Lives, it's like, okay, we're not trying to hide it. This isn't,
We
whatever
are out here. We're not going nowhere.
about Latinos, very proud.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
and people, yeah, watch the series because I was a fan before I was ever involved with it.
That's how you
And
got involved with it.
yeah,
You saw season 1.
I was seeing on. I saw some episodes. I saw on Facebook people were talking about Latin Lives. I'm like, Latin Lives. That sounds like that's for me. I didn't be in something called Latin Lives. What?
So, for the documentary, how long is it going to be?
Well, the documentary is about 42 minutes. I keep track.
Oh, okay. Well, I thought you were going to do the full 90. Like,
Oh, I have 90-minute cuts because the
mhm,
play, what, almost 2.5 hours or two.
Yeah, the place 2.5 hours.
So it's
mhm,
like 2.5 hours worth of footage of
mhm,
20 times the play's been done that I have to work with, plus
mhm,
The web series.
web series of 2 seasons, plus all the behind the scenes footage of rehearsals from the time
mhm.
I was in the play and all the footage and pictures Robbie has too.
Please, he's gay. Did you see the way he looked at me?
Well, you always say that everybody's gay.
They are. They just don't know it.
You know what? All notes aside, my favorite part of Latin Lives has always been the love affair. The love affair between Sammy and Tony. Oh man, whether it's in the series or the play, I love it. It's beautiful. What I aspire. You know, we're still writing in the campaign. I'm forever Tony Sammy, okay? We were calling it Tammy for a while, it was a thing. But we want to bring them back. We got to do a reboot, and we want Sammy and Tony. We want them together. That's the way the fans would want them.
And it was hard to do it because I was trying to surprise Robbie. So, I was working on it for almost like 6 months. And I'm like, surprise! He's like, I thought it was going to be, like he said, a 6-minute thing. I was like, no, we can't do stuff like that. We got to do it big boy style. And,
Mhm.
and I thought that's the best thing about it.
And I gotta say, I think you did an incredible job of
Mhm.
bringing so much about heart of the show, what it's about. Uh, I'm definitely, especially with hearing the certain past cast members expressing what the show meant to them was
Oh,
very overwhelming for me. I was just yeah. So, but you did an incredible job with it. I think it looks beautiful. It flows, and
mhm.
it's thank you, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you.
Oh. I'm sure it was his honor to do it. You know what I mean? Like,
And it was like, I think you touched on something there where you're like, where people have doubts, and Robbie has mentioned to me before. He's like, I think I'm gonna just hold off on doing it. Maybe I'm just not gonna do it. And I'm like, I need to do this probably to say, no, this was huge. How could you not do anything more with this? Like you said, just settling that dust of any doubts. Was this good? Was it not? Did people
mhm,
people care about it? People love it. It was a great project. It had a lot of.
right.
So I wanted to also clear that. Any questions
Yeah,
about
I mean, it's never, there's never a doubt about wanting to do it. It's just
Mhm,
financially, can we do it? Emotionally, can we do it? I mean, I always want to do it.
mhm,
It's the thing is, I actually have like a box that has
mhm.
all the emails, all the letters, all the cards that cast members, past cast members have given me,
Oh,
audience members have given me, and I definitely have a few audience members' letters that if ever there was any doubt that I had, that letter took that doubt away a long time ago.
oh.
To how this show has impacted
Mhm,
Latinos who've come and seen it, and I'll tell you this one little story because my Spanish is bad, and we talk about that in the show. That's one of the issues that we talk about in the show. How my parents didn't teach me Spanish, uh,
mm,
and after one show, my friend was standing next to me, and this beautiful little abuela, this doña, came up to me. She gave me this big kiss, and she said really quick in Spanish, and walked away. And I was like, "Thank you." And I'm like, then I turned to my friend, like, "What did she say?" Because she said it so fast, and she said to me, she said you made her proud to be Latin.
oh.
For me, that is more important than any big paycheck or any kind of fame or for like knowing
Mhm,
that you as an artist that your work has touched somebody like that or inspired somebody. um,
Exactly.
and or even change people's minds. I mean, I've had people that were very, I wouldn't say they were homophobic, but seeing the gay storyline in the show made them look at things differently.
Which is good. So
And
that
this
so
is
that
what
means you did the damn thing. That's what that means. You did the damn thing.
that's what we're about. We're
Mhm.
trying not just to make people laugh or to make people cry, but to make people feel. And what I hope with Latin Lives is that they laugh and they enjoy it, and then they go home and they think about it, and they think about things and they think about the subjects. I'm not trying to give people answers. I'm not trying to tell them how to live their lives or what to do. All I'm doing is presenting these stories. You take from it what you want to take from it.
Exactly.
Hey, and think about the things that we brought up, whether you agree or disagree.
It really starts a great conversation and it adds to the dialogue, between all of us Latinos because there's so many different topics that get covered
Right.
in the web series and in the play. And the cool thing about the play that I liked was, it
Mhm.
followed Mira's family, but then it'll go to Latinos elsewhere. So then there's like a segment
Mhm.
at designing men, and it's based off the designing women.
Women.
In the
Right.
TV show, and you see them with their accents, their southern accents, and it's like a comedy. And I was in this.
Mhm.
All the actors have got to do it have had like they got a chance to play characters they never would have got to play,
True.
and things they never would have got to say, and it was
Yeah,
really special.
the play comes across like the day in the life of this family and their friends.
Okay.
You have characters crisscrossing from one vignette to the other, so you get a idea that all these people kind of know each other in New York City or cross paths somehow.
Okay.
And
So it would be like if they were living in a building, like, okay, 1A, this is what's going on with the family in 1A.
they were the same city, which is New
Yeah.
York, and also we call the show Latin Lives because some characters are Puerto Rican, some are Cuban, some are Dominican, some are Mexican, some we have. It's definitely something that I was very conscious of when I first created it was
Mhm.
um, making sure that we're
Mhm.
uniting as a whole because again my feeling is like if we're going to make any kind of headway in this country we need to be united as Latinos
That's
first
right.
and foremost, regardless of where we come from and everything because you know what at the end of the day a racist is going to see us how they're going to see us and they're lumping us all together so we need to stop
Exactly.
ourselves and just unite.
Mhm.
And that was one of the reasons that the play came up, and I said, let's call it Latin Lives, and
Mhm.
just include everybody.
Oh boy. So you only got okay. So the play is 2.5 hours. You're gonna compact all that into 42 minutes.
Well, I can't, the audience only has so much of a attention span. And, we also, Robbie's been very private with the footage of the play overall this time, and none of it has ever really officially ever been released in its entirety. So we're still keeping that up where it's not all there, where you still, when we put the play, you still got to come see it.
But you get to see
This is true.
some clips from the actual theater version of the show, and I am actually proud and happy to have that out there for people to
Okay.
because the cast, I've been very blessed to have such talented group of artists over the years, and I think that's one of the fun things about because we have audience members who literally have come to see every iteration of the show, and
Wow.
the fun thing for them is it's even though the script is basically the same except for the things that we tweak. Uh, every time you
Mhm.
have a new cast, these are new actors playing these roles. And then one of the things I tell the actors from the day one, I don't want you trying to repeat anything that somebody else did. I want you to make these characters their own. So
Right.
the show might be the same, but the actors are bringing something different. So those characters are going to be different, and things land
Yes.
differently. And audience members love like, oh, I like this one better than that one, but that one is better than this one, and they just love. It's just like anybody who's a real theater fan and has seen like all the productions of Rent. Like I'm
Mhm.
a Redhead. I did that. I saw different productions of Rent. And I have my favorite Mimi and my favorite Roger. So it's great that people are doing that with Latin Lives. They're like coming to see it, and um, and they just love seeing it because it feels different every time.
Well, and speaking of time, this is my time.